I'm sure you're all dying to get stuck into the next map, so let's go for it. This is an interesting one. It comes with a brand new concept that I've never heard of before. Right, the map itself is called Tidecaller. I believe it came out this week. Creator 1 Runar. I've not come across any other maps by this guy, but this one's pretty interesting enough. So I played it for a little while, and if we load up my game, I'll show you exactly what this new concept is. Now, it's not necessarily a new concept in the game, it's just the first time I've come across it. And it's to do with draining rivers and sucking out the land for use. Right, but before I talk about that area, let me just discuss the basics of the map. So you start off in the middle here, roughly. You've got your usual highway coming in. There is a railway line, but it's all the way up here, so I haven't had a chance to use it yet. And there are two other highways, one on the right hand side and one down here. I think it's just two. If I zoom out, yeah, there's just two other ones. Now, it's based on the Netherlands, which I believe reclaim a bit of land every here and there. And the main point of what you're meant to do in this map is drain these rivers. So at the start of this map, this whole thing down here was a river. But as you can see, I've dammed off a bit of it, and I've got these water evaporators. Now I'll talk about those in a second because they are a unique asset specifically for this map. So by damming this off and sucking out some water, I've created this land here, and I've had to close the dam off here. And you can build them as you see here. So this was water, but you can zone it and build in it just like anywhere else. And you also, another cool feature of the game is the grass starts growing again. So if we zoom up, wait, we don't zoom. You can see what's happening. This was all a dry riverbed a few days ago in game, and now it's all slowly going green, which is nice. It's a nice added touch by the developers. One thing I will warn you when you're getting rid of these rivers is it changes the flow of everything. Now, at the start of the game, this river flowed down, and all these rivers coming off it flow down as well. So my pollution actually, instead of going upstream as it's going now, went down. It's only once I took away the water from here, that water started coming from the main river down these little ones and changed the direction of the pollution. Now, if you're not careful and don't plan ahead for this, you're going to make your citizens very, very, very sick. Because I used to have my water intake, my water pumping stations here roughly at the start of the game. And when I first started messing around with trying to clear these rivers, I didn't notice that pollution had started going upstream. Everyone got very sick, and you know what happens when oh, yeah, let's ignore these for a while. I think I've just got my I'm going off graveyards. Right, so in order to suck out water from rivers, there's this new asset. Now it's called a water evaporator. Obviously, it's not great that there's no sensible little icon for it there. It's a minor bug, but it does make the game annoying. It's always nice when you get a mod that you know has finishing touches applied to it and fits in with the rest of the game. This one obviously doesn't. It's if I'm looking at this tab now, it stands out massively. Now I don't know if the inventor plans to do it. Off the top of my head, I'm not sure if the inventor of this map is the guy who invented that asset. It doesn't say, does it? But anyway, it doesn't pump water into your system, so water pumped out doesn't. Your Sims can't drink it. It just, well, I suppose it's called a water evaporator because in theory it just heats your water and puts out its steam. But it does 400,000 meters cubed a week, whereas a regular water pumping station only does 1,200. So it's just over 3 times as good. Now, if you didn't have this water evaporator, or you wanted to leave your game unmodded, you could obviously do this strategy with water pumping stations. You just need 3 times as many. Now, as for the rest of the map, what this map would be good for is, even if you didn't want to reclaim the land from the rivers, you could make a pretty nice island city. So we have this bridge here. I built it before I reclaimed the land. But if you expand out, there's lots of these little islands where you could zone off, create your own little districts in them, have specialities. There is a bit of industry you can use to do that. Wrong button. This one, right? But it's mostly forest and fertile land. believe, right, there's some ore there. I think I came across some oil. But yeah, there you go, some oil down here. It's very little, it is mostly forest and fertile land that you need to start with. The game is also very hard to get going, as the milestones have been set pretty high. So I can't remember off the top of my head what's the average sort of time for a crematorium or water treatment plant, but you usually have it by now, so you get rid of all this pollution. It's also impossible for the dams to completely block water. As you can see here, a little bit of it still keeps coming through. Now, apart from that, the map's pretty nice. It's got a lot of variant features. It's pretty flat. There's no mountains anywhere pretty much. But if the designer is trying to simulate Holland, then obviously that's how Holland is. I don't think there's any mountains in Holland. If any of the listeners live there, feel free to correct me. Now, traffic was an issue at the start of the game when all this was industry, but I did the usual tactic of replacing all the industry with offices, and that takes away the trucks and lorries, so there's not that much traffic. I've recently started converting this low density residential to high density residential, and that did cause traffic problems until I put the subway in and a few bus stops. Now, I know what you're wanting to do, and you're wanting to see me flood the thing, so here we go. Let's get rid of all these. Let's get rid of these pumping stations. There we go. It's bad mayor time. Tsunami! This is world's slowest tsunami, as these rivers aren't very deep originally, so... One pain, which I thought is a bit unfair, is when you build the dams, because dams operate on the principle of the water coming in has to be at a higher altitude than the water on the other side, and these rivers are very shallow, it doesn't actually generate any electricity. Which is a bit of a waste, but hey, what can you do? Here you go. Water is flooded. I wonder how long people live here before they decide to move out of a flooded place. Alright, so there you go, you've got the rivers filling in again. Let's get rid of this one, get rid of this dam as well. Let nature take its course again. I wonder if this will turn around. It should do. No, pollution's too strong. Well, that's a thought. I wonder if the polluted water acts differently, as if it's got a higher mass or density, so it can push a bit stronger. That would be pretty cool if it did. It makes you realise just how many little details the developers put into this game. But anyway, so to summarise, it's a nice map. Two ways you can play this. You can either leave the islands as they are, build lots of bridges, have fun managing the traffic problems that brings with it. There you go, people finally moved out, except you. You're here till the end. Abandoned. Right, so you can build it as islands, or you can have fun with this water reclamation. I've played around with it for a bit. It is a bit fiddly to get started, especially as you have to figure out how dams work and how all this water sucking out business works. I suppose in theory you could actually suck out the sea. One idea that I haven't implemented is if you start sucking water out slowly and building up dams to the side, you could essentially build some sort of port. I think you'll struggle to suck out the entire sea, but if anyone does it, feel free to give me a link and I'll take a look. So it's a good map. There's nothing wrong with it. If you've never played around with the concept of reclaiming land, go for it. Thanks for... Oh, there's 2 railway stations, 3 of them. How did I not notice those? There we go, we're all learning together. Until next time, good night.